Hello and welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet. Hi guys, happy hump day. And welcome to LEAH. Welcome to LEAH. I want to say every week, boy, have we got news for you. But Have I Got News for You is one of my favorite British shows, and it already has that title, so I never say it. So probably you guys should check out the show called that. You can find it actually on YouTube for free. Have I Got News for You is the name of the channel. And Jasmine Crockett was a guest last month. It's the best episode they've had this year. It's hilarious. Political comedy, but it's world news. So I love it so much. If you don't follow world news, there'd be a lot of it that you're like, I really don't know what they're talking about. But if you do, you're going to find the show hilarious.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Did you see what not to put?
Yes, I did. This is making me giggle. Yes, also behind the scenes, we have our lovely and beautiful, we think, we hope, our Lord.
We're pretty sure.
We're pretty sure, but he's very beautiful. Has beautiful hair, I've heard.
Oh. I've seen his hair.
Yeah. You are
down there.
You are you are that beautiful. Take it from a lesbian, I would know.
Yes. Hey, Naja, quick question. This is so relevant. Do the curtains match the drapes? Okay. So now moving on to other topics.
You got a snort out of me.
All right. Well, lots and lots has happened since we've talked to you all last. We're sorry about that. The things have happened. So what?
Yeah, we apologize.
Yeah, for the world falling apart. We haven't been doing necessarily everything we can do to stop the world from falling apart. But we are also going through it. So if that's any consolation. What are we starting with? Qatar? Now, is it Qatar or Qatar or Qatar?
It's Qatar.
Qatar. I'm like, I hear everyone say it like a different way, and like I say it's Qatar.
And we're talking about the Qatari government.
Qatar. Well, yeah.
Qatar. Yes. Yeah. So you just take the I off. That's how you pronounce it.
Some people call it Qatar.
Yeah, they do, but not if you live there.
It's so weird. It's so weird. Like, when I first heard that, I'm like, oh, that's weird. I thought that was Qatar.
Yes, it is.
Wait, are they talking about the same country? Like, it really messed me up. I should be used to that. I should be, but I'm not. I'm just not used to it. Also, fun fact, in case you don't know other foreign languages, not that I know much of any other foreign languages, but do you know how to say Japan in Japanese? Because it's not Japan. It's not Japan.
No, it is.
It's Nihon.
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 I do remember.
You do remember?
I do remember that, yes. And if you hear people in many other countries when they're talking about America, when they say America, it doesn't sound like that because we're called many different pronunciations of that word, whether all over the world. So yeah, it is what it is. We're gonna use Qatar and Qatar.
Yeah.
Just think Atari.
Atari. Atari.
Yeah. Atari. Go. Nailed it.
I have an Atari. If anyone would like to come over and play Atari with me, let me know.
Dude.
Come on over.
What?
We'll play Frogger. I have Frogger and Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers and Superman. I have Tank. I don't have Pong. If someone wants to get me Pong, I won't argue. I will take that bribe. Right.
Hey,
If the
speaking of
Atari
bribes,
government would like to send me an Atari Pong game, I'm willing to make a deal.
oh God, yeah, that's where we're at right now. We're in the most transactional government
Yeah.
we have ever witnessed. And I mean, Mac already has 6 kids, Nacha, so what's one more? I mean, at this point, give or take one, no one's gonna notice. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, maybe when the count
Right,
is
really.
down at night.
For real.
Right, for real. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So, speaking of bribes and Qatari, we're going to start with our president of the United States, these United States, in the year of our Lord, 2025, actually doing something that brought out the most extreme wing of MAGA against him and everyone else. So there's that. Of course, the loyalists are the loyalists, but the most extreme are definitely upset about that. And the thing I'm talking about is the Qatari plane deal, airplane jet, I guess, if you will. And I would like to read something for you guys.
You mean the palace in the sky?
The palace in the sky. Yes, that is exactly
Okay.
what I'm
I was
talking
just
about.
making sure that we were talking about the same cutter jet.
Yes, we
Sorry,
definitely are.
it didn't mind me.
I mean, there's so many to, handle. Make sure you guys also stay up with Jon Stewart because he is doing a killer job of keeping track of all this and why there's so much coming out that we forget. I'm talking about this deal. And we also had the administration on the same day that they announced this, stating that they were going to get rid of habeas corpus. So there's just one after another. And to say fascism is on the way is not true. It's definitely okay. In his eagerness to accept a plane from Qatar, Donald Trump has achieved a remarkable feat, uniting many partisans across America's bitter political divide. The problem for the White House is that unity is happening in opposition to it. Predictably, Trump's opponents in the Democratic Party slammed the president after he indicated he would accept a luxury jet from the Qatari royal family. More noteworthy and potentially more troubling for the president is that some of his strongest supporters also have serious reservations about this deal, even as it's yet to be finalized. MAGA influencers have described the move as a bribe, a grift, or an example of a high-level corruption that, then they say, not me, that Trump himself has consistently promised to root out. Yeah, okay. The Qatari royal family plans to give the luxury Boeing 747-8, estimated to be worth $400 million, to the U.S. Department of Defense. Okay, first of all, side note, what is the Department of Defense supposed to do with this? I'm sure it's bugged. I'm sure it has cameras. I'm sure the carpets have all kinds of stuff. Like, get out of here, first of all. What is the Defense Department? But it's not going to the Defense Department. Also, side note, Trump wants to take it when he leaves office for his own personal president library.
No,
Yeah.
they're just gonna give it to his library.
Uh, mm, However, it's supposed to go to the Department of Defense. So blah
It's
blah blah.
basically like they want to give it to Batman, but they're just gonna give it to Batman's cave, and they're gonna see what happens. I'm really, really sorry that I made any kind of equation with Trump and Batman. That was really
Yeah,
disrespectful to Batman and
yeah. Sorry,
Bob
Bruce.
Kane. Yes. So I apologize. That was gross and negligent of me.
Spank yourself and stand in the corner for
Do I
everyone to
have to?
see.
I was gonna say, does everyone have to watch me spank myself?
I mean, if there aren't cameras, did you really do it?
If we get to a
Pictures.
thousand, if we get to 1,000 subs, I by the end of this stream, I will go ahead and spank myself and put myself in the corner for all of you to see. There you go. Start working on it. Christy, go back to you.
Back to me. All right. So yes, to the U.S. Department of Defense to be used as part of a fleet of planes dubbed Air Force One, the President of the United States, no matter who they are, official mode of air travel. The current fleet, as of right now, includes two 747-200 jets, which have been in use since 1990, along with several smaller and somewhat secretive 757. The White House says that the new plane, which could require many years and millions of dollars to refit, upgrade, and debug, obviously, will be transferred to then Trump's presidential library at the end of his term. After the news broke on Sunday, the backlash was so fierce and immediate. Quote, I think the technical term is skeezy, deadpan conservative Daily Wire's commentator Ben Shapiro said on his podcast. Ben Shapiro, yes. If you lose Shapiro and Loomer. Qatar, quote, Qatar is not allegedly giving President Trump a $400 million jet out of the goodness of their sweet little hearts, he then said. Quote, they try to stuff money into pockets in total bipartisan fashion, end quote. I agree, obviously. He and others pointed to allegations that Qatar has funneled money into terrorist groups, allegations the country has denied, and called Qataris, quote, the world's largest proponents of terrorism on an international scale, end quote. But he also says the same thing about Iran. So
all right, hold
it's
on.
been
So, now I heard that from Jasinski, I think, earlier today, that Qatar is like the state that has like the terrorism, or sponsors the most terrorism, right? Is that
That's
true,
what Trump,
or
his
is
last
it?
president.
I
You
mean,
can
not
pull
me.
up.
Is
You
it the
can pull
U.S.?
up.
Sorry, is it delay?
You can pull up Trump saying that during his last
Yeah,
presidency.
but
Yeah,
who is it actually?
the United States of America.
Okay, thank you. I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure. I just wanted to double check because I was like pretty sure. I'm like, hold on, that doesn't sound right. I don't even think they're number two. Like,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The world is a hot mess right now. Oh, and then we have Laura Loomer, the conspiracy spreading social media influencer who agitates for sacking of top White House officials deemed insufficiently loyal to Trump, interrupted her steady stream of pro-Trump messaging, I call it ass-kissing, to criticize the move. Although she said she still supports the president, she called the plane deal, quote, a stain, end quote, and posted a cartoon of the Trojan horse redrawn as the plane filled with armed Islamic militants. So yeah, some racism on top. Trump found little support for the plan and more mainstream outlets on top of that. The New York Post, which usually can be counted on to back much of the populist MAGA agenda, ran a blunt editorial, quote, Qatar's palace in the sky jet is not a free gift, end quote, and Trump shouldn't accept it as one. And Mark Levin, a consistent cheerleader of the president on Fox News and his radio talk show, posted on X accusing Qatar of being a, quote, terror state, and then wrote, their jet and all the other things they are buying in our country does not provide them with the cover they are seeking. During the first term, President Trump himself accused Qatar of funding terrorist groups like Hamas, you know, just to say one. When contacted by the BBC, the Qatari embassy in Washington pointed to an interview Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin, that's a long name, gave CNN about the plane. I'm sorry, it's like 9 words. Quote, it is a government to government transaction. It has nothing to do with personal relationships. neither on the US side nor the Qatari side. It's between two defense ministries, he said. Why would we buy influence in the United States? He added, arguing Qatar has always been a reliable and trusted partner. This is not a one-way relationship. Right, that's why you don't accept the gifts. And then you can just look up, is a president allowed to accept a gift? They're not. By law, they cannot accept gifts. In response to criticism of the deal, the White House has now doubled down. Of course they have. Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said in a statement that the administration was committed to full transparency. Quote, any gift given by foreign governments is always accepted in full compliance with all applicable laws, she said. Although there has been nothing offered in exchange for the plane, many commenters said it would be naive to expect that the Qatari royal family would hand out such a large item with no strings attached. Quote, they very obviously see that if you reward Donald Trump with gifts and praise, that may pay off down the road. Doug Heye, a political strategist and former communication director for the Republican National Committee, told the BBC, quote, flattery gets you somewhere with Donald Trump, and we've seen that time and time and time again. The U.S. Constitution, however, includes a clause preventing officials from accepting any present, emolument, office, or title of any kind whatsoever from any king, prince, royal family, or foreign state, end quote. But the White House has pointed out that, at least to begin with, the plane is being gifted to the U.S. government. Attorney General Pam Bondi reportedly investigated the legality of the deal and determined that because there are no explicit conditions attached, it would not amount to a bribe. Conservatives and others were quick to point out that Bondi was registered as a lobbyist for Qatar prior to joining Trump's cabinet, and at some point earning up to $115,000 a month from her work for the Qatari government. The Trump Organization also continues to maintain links to Qatar, and last month announced a deal to build a luxury golf resort in the country. During a news conference at the White House on Tuesday, the president berated a reporter who raised questions about the ethics of such a transaction. Quote, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Asked ABC reporter Rachel Scott. Quote, you should be embarrassed asking that question, Trump replied after using his standard fake news jibe. Quote, they are gifting us a free jet, the president said. I could say, no, 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 don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million, or I could say, thank you very much, end quote. On Truth Social, then, the president later posted several messages pointing out that the Statue of Liberty was a gift from France, and wrote late Tuesday that the Boeing 747 is being given to the United States Air Force / Department of Defense, not to me. Quote, only a fool would not accept this gift on behalf of our country. However, even some within Trump's Republican Party were expressing serious concern. Quote, I think it's not worth the appearance of impropriety, whether it's improper or not, Rand Paul, Republican senator from Kentucky, told Fox News. Quote, I wonder if our ability to judge Qatar's human rights record will be clouded by the fact of this large gift. Another Republican senator, Ted Cruz of Texas, said accepting this gift would pose, quote, significant espionage and surveillance problems. Obviously, we don't know what's in that plane. Trump did find some support within his party, though. Free is good, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, quote, free is good, you know. We don't have a lot of money right now to buy things like that, Senator Tommy Tuberville told CNN. Doug Heye, the Republican strategist, suggested that the deal might not hurt Trump's popularity with his base in the long term. Just I wanted to end the sentence. Okay, yes, Max?
No, that's fine. I just wanted to correct you. It's Tuberville.
What did I say? Tuberville?
Yeah, that's too
Yeah.
official. We don't take him that seriously here.
And that there's just one more paragraph. Quote, Trump had, this is Tuberville too. Trump has been able for years now to turn scandals that would otherwise be debilitating for other politicians into things that we forget, he said. He's very skilled at that. And, you
No
know,
shit.
when Hillary Clinton was gifted a 300 and something $1 million necklace from a royal family, right? You can't. She couldn't accept it. Even you can't do that. And he's
Wait,
saying that they're
wait,
giving
she
it.
couldn't or she did?
No, no, she did not.
Okay. All right. No, I really wasn't sure, so I had to
She did
ask.
not. Right, she had to say she cannot. Like that's she can't. And to say that they're gifting it to the United States like the Statue of Liberty is bullshit. The Statue of Liberty didn't then get removed from its position and moved to that current president's personal library. In like that's
It's
not
fine.
how it's worked. It's everything's fine.
I don't know if this is the
Everything.
biggest corruption scandal because I really don't think it is. I think this is just kind of classic Trump. Like, I see that this is a big story, but I don't know. Maybe it's working on me a little bit. Like, this is one of the least biggest stories of Trump. That's a
Oh
big story
my.
about Trump, as far as I'm concerned so far. Just because it's so classic him. Ooh, a dictator wants to give me a present? Ooh, it's expensive? No one saw this coming.
Habeas corpus removal is a 911 emergency. It really
Yeah,
is.
that's a much bigger deal.
Much bigger deal. However, this is on its face doesn't need to be investigated. Is illegal. It doesn't have to go through the court. It already is a law.
Yeah.
And so he cannot be allowed if it is gifted as to be part of the fleet of Air Force Ones, as Trump said, and I watched it again not too long ago, that when he pulls up into the Middle East in the Air Force One, and he gets out of the Air Force One and he looks around at Saudi Arabia's jet, at Qatari, pulling up in their jet, at EAU pulling up, and he thinks we don't have anything like that. He feels like a teeny tiny little fish in the pond with big fish, and that's neither here nor there. You're there to represent the American people, and the American people fund that jet that you take. And
Ooh,
you
Donny
not
boy
only
want one. Donny boy wants one.
he needs
Gotta get
bigger.
me one of those. Sorry, I can't Trump dance very well. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing. Christy's better at it than I am.
That's the Trump dances. He
Yeah.
just needs to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You got a
then
deep throat
everyone.
microphone right in the middle.
Yeah,
Mm.
it looks like two really tall. Well, giraffes are tall. Two giraffe, like a giraffe on the side and a giraffe on that side.
Yeah.
He's doing the milking. That's called milking the giraffe dance.
Milking the draft. You're really good at naming dances, Christy.
Everybody, milk the giraffe.
Milking the draft. I have a follow-up for that, but I'm not doing it. I'm not. I can just all imagine what I was gonna say.
Oh, so America is currently making Arab money because
Yep.
that's where
Yeah.
or trying to fit in with Arab. He just wants to be one of them. I mean, Kushner got the $2.1 billion from Saudi Arabia and literally has made no money. It's just it is insane. That money makes money, but he hasn't like invested it and made money. Like the whole thing is a scam. Trump's coin is a big story. That is a direct to pay. Yes, I mean I could go on and on about the corruption, but
I
this
agree.
one,
That's kind of what I'm
this
saying.
one is old fashioned as far as like completely.
This is corrupt.
Yes.
Yeah. This is like, this is as brazen as him not following the emoluments clause for not putting his businesses in a blind trust, except it's just bigger. I mean, anyways, so in the meantime, while all this is going on, as we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago, um, how these girls for Christmas should only be expecting like 2 or 3 dolls. They don't really need 30 dolls, but our president can have 400 and some $1 billion jet.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that. Also, how close are we right now to or the Republicans trying to pass a bill where they're going to cut $888 $1 billion from Medicaid?
From Medicaid and from SNAP.
And from SNAP.
Because in that bill, Jasmine Crockett describes it perfectly. They do not say Medicaid and they do not say SNAP, but they say agriculture. I described to you last year to everyone how SNAP, it goes directly to our agriculture. It is, these are your excess milk, your excess cheese, your excess peanut butter, so agriculture gets paid and poor people get food. So it is a circle that feeds itself. So by cutting their $700 million from ag, they're cutting SNAP. They don't have to say it. It's just maniacal.
Yeah, it's just corrupt as fuck. And like the Republicans are trying to find a way to still fund all the things that they want to fund, but also give tax cuts to the richest among us. And Trump's getting this jet. I think we mentioned that, but I just wanted to make sure I was clear that they're all about helping the rich and all about screwing over the poor and arresting the homeless and fucking over small private companies that are making tiny houses to help the homeless. Also bombing children in brown countries. And also we need to spend a lot of money on dropping ships or jets in the sea.
Oh, I saw that too. two helicopter and a jet are at the bottom of the sea right now.
But let's get Big Boy Donnie and Air Palace. Let's do that. You know, this is just bullshit. Right? This is just Trump every day being a con artist, being a selfish motherfucker. Like, what's the big whoop? Right? I mean, like, yes, we need to cover this, right? This is a thing that LEAH should talk about, right? This is a thing that CNN and Fox should talk about, right? And everyone is, but it can't take a week of headlines, guys. It can't, because it's not the most important fucking thing. It's outrageous. It's kind of radical. But what's more radical is what ICE is doing right now. What's more radical is all of it.
What was it? 59 South Africans are let in. Not let in, are brought in because of reverse racism in South Africa. They're provided with $1,200 each, with a few hundred in food assistance, food stamp cards every single month. They're provided with housing. They're provided with education to help assimilate, all taxpayer funded.
Yeah. You know what? You know what that sounds like to me?
Socialism.
Those white South Africans moving here because of reverse racism. That sounds pretty fucking woke. That
Yeah.
race doesn't matter whatsoever, but there's reverse racism going on.
Yeah.
Sounds like some woke language for a woke ideology.
Well,
And
they're what,
right wingers don't like
7%? Africa's population are the Afrikaners, 7%, but they
and they're
own over
70.
70% of the farming land. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And they're getting reverse racismed over. I hope you like how I said that.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's actually,
yeah. Look, this this is again, this is bullshit. This is stupid. Um, don't let this story take too much of your time. This is not Steve Bannon's idea of throw everything at the media, but it is also one of those things, right? So we need to really watch what's happening in Oklahoma and in Texas that we're not actually following this week. We should be. We should be covering this week, and we're not. Um, they're trying to repeal religious freedoms in Texas and in Oklahoma and make sure that uh, Christian nationalist ideology is being taught in every classroom, meaning the Ten Commandments are required to be hung up in every classroom, and that's the uh, New King James Version only. And the other things are, anything that might make white kids feel bad can't be taught in the classroom. Right? That's Christian nationalism. Um, we'll get to that. We have to. Um, that's our niche, right? Um, but don't let this distract you too much because there's gonna be a lot more, right? If he gets away with this, and I don't know, I think he will. Do you think he'll get the jet? Or do you think like the courts are gonna be like, hey, 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 hey?
by law, he can't. There's no way around it.
Right? But I
Like,
mean,
they
he's
changed the
breaking
law.
laws all but he's breaking laws all the
I
time.
know.
He don't
I
give a
know.
fuck.
Here's
Wanna
the
go
thing, though. Here- Here's some good news and some logic thrown at it.
okay.
If he accepted it today, it will take years for it to be thoroughly taken apart, debugged, camera, everything, and then updated to fit a president years. We will have taken back the House and the Senate by then, and we can have investigations and stop that shit.
Sure, but I mean, also, couldn't he just like hire a bunch of the Mexican immigrants to like do it really fast? Oh wait, shoot, he used
Only
to
children. They
he
can
used to
only
have
hire
time for
children.
that.
Yeah. That's why they changed
The
the child
Mexican
labor.
ones, not the Mexican ones, because the Mexican ones have to go back with their families because last
Yeah.
time they learned this thing about family separation, and they're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, no, it has to be the American children. That's why all the labor laws are being lax.
Yeah,
Like,
but we're sending back
yeah,
American too. To
I
us
was,
because they're all from El Salvador.
oh god, that's terrifying. I was watching a documentary on chimney sweeps in, the late 1800s, child labor. They would use 3 and 4 year olds. 3 and 4. Have you ever met one? They can't do anything right. They can't, they're not coordinated. They can't walk without tripping. They can't run and talk. Like, but they would lower them down in the chimney sweeps and make them scrub. Like, oh my God. Oh, I'm so glad we don't do that. I would not let that happen to my kid. So I can't imagine standing for it. And even then, I would have been like, I'll build something long to do it. Like, there's no way you put my kid in there.
Yeah.
But they used poor kids and kids that, didn't eat that day if they didn't work. And so I'm sure robber barons would love that again. Because if you're struggling to eat, if you're struggling, you don't know where you're going to live when this month is up because you haven't made that money yet, you don't have time to protest. You don't have time to resist. You don't have time to care about the broader political system happening because you're struggling to survive, and that's what they want.
Here, let me actually break down part of that argument that you just used and actually wreck it a little bit. And then I'll shoot mine in the foot, my counter argument. This will be fun. You ready? All right. So Christy said that robber barons would love to be able to use some children to clean out their chimneys. Now, if you live in the 21st century, you might realize we don't really need children to clean out our chimneys anymore. Most chimneys aren't really used for fire anymore. Most are just, old chimneys or decorative, or, people have the electric fireplace in their homes. But if you think about it, let's say we did have chimneys because of how we use like the price of fuel or maybe even electricity, because we get a lot of our electrical power even from like Canada or something too, right? That's a thing. And let's say those prices go up, so maybe people do want to use wood to heat their homes again. Then we'll have to use our chimneys because of tariffs and relations with Canada. And also, maybe people just don't want to rely on their government because the government kind of sucks right now. It's falling apart, and the Trump administration is proving it, right? That's part of the Project 2025. That, you wreck the government, you say, look, the government can't do this, and then you cut that program, right? Home heating assistance is one of the things that's being cut in this big beautiful bill, if I remember right. So Christie's argument might actually come into flourishing where we need kids to clean chimneys. Now, hold on here, because you might be thinking, and you should be thinking that maybe, just maybe, that might make even the robber barons feel bad. We do live in a new age, and kids don't live like they used to, right? They have a lot more luxury than the kids in the 17 and 1800s did. And it's not the norm to make children clean out your chimney. What you would rather do, I'm sure, is go on Amazon Prime and have a cheap Chinese product shipped to your home to where you can clean out your own chimney or hire someone to do that. But wait, shooting my own argument in the foot. You might be thinking now, wait, did he just say the trigger word of cheap Chinese product? Why, yes, I did. Yes, I did say that. So, I mean, we don't really know what the future's going to look like. Florida is trying to bring back child labor laws. Ohio is trying to bring back child labor laws. They have. I have what?
They have here as well.
Yeah, I have a student.
For dangerous jobs. I don't know if Ohio, but for dangerous jobs like cleaning meat packing factories.
So yeah, the meat packing factories are amongst the worst ones that they can do. In Ohio, usually they push back the starting age for high school. Fast food restaurants to like 14, and that was around COVID time. And that's bad enough, guys. Like, we're not affording our kids to have real childhoods. That's important. I mean, like once you start in the workforce, you kind of never stop. You're kind of stuck there. And I mean, we can have a bigger discussion on that another time on what that should look like. But we don't know what this new Trump economy and these world tariffs are going to give us. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if more people got into revamping their old chimneys, building it back down into the fireplace more often soon. Because I mean, if you already look at the at the preppers for Armageddon, of which I know a few, they're already trying to remake little property farms, right, with chickens and gardens, victory gardens and such, as we called them like 15 years ago. They're back in style because people are worried that our economy and the markets that we know, or like your superstores, aren't going to be able to supply food for everyone. So people are trying to get ahead and make sure they can live off their own land. And look, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is kind of fine. It's good even. Because I think we've lost a lot over the last couple hundred years. And I'm not excited to learn any of that stuff. I don't even want to learn how to jar, but I kind of feel like I should, because I don't
So
know
fun.
how. Huh?
It's so fun, man. It's so much
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I love
It's
tomato
so-
salsa, but I don't really know
yeah.
how to like keep it fresh too long. So, um, but we don't know what those products are going to cost us, like to be able to do that for ourselves. Even just to get started. Um, there's just so many things to look at in front of me. Excuse me. And it's really, really sad to me because, yeah, Trump's getting this fucking jet. The Republicans are trying to cut Medicaid and home heating assistance. But what we should be talking about this week is how we finally have a Congress that's smart enough to realize that it is the time for Medicare for all. That's where we should be. And right now we're talking about, you know, the preppers are kind of right. Maybe we should all get some fucking chickens and start burning wood in the home to keep our houses warm. I mean, I feel like we're getting close to that conversation, and I don't want to have it. I don't know how close we are, but I mean, it
I mean,
is still a possibility
produces
now.
our country produces a lot of food. A lot of food. So much food that we export a majority of it. And because of where we
We
are
throw
on the
away.
globe. Right. Well, because of where we are, how Ukraine is known as the wheat basket of the world, the bread basket of the world. We're known as the corn. And not just the United States, North America, Central America, and South America has from corn to maize, everything from the corn family. And we do a lot of fruits and vegetables very well for many, many months all across the country. We even have one state, Hawaii, that can grow coffee. But that is the only state. And I don't know if you've ever bought any like a Kalani coffee. It's like, $20 for a bag. So
Mm,
that is one thing that you might want to stock up on is coffee. But as far as fruits, vegetables, as long as they're not exotic, as long as they are continental fruits and vegetables, we'll be fine. It will
yeah.
be the little tangerines, the cuties that the kids love. Kids, I mean me. The easy peel little like me. I use the whole orange. I don't just eat the meat on the inside. I make candy out of the peel.
Oh, cool.
And then syrup from making the candy from the peel is an orange syrup. So if you're making drinks like a bartender, you need a little bit of orange syrup. I have a whole bunch in my fridge that I made myself. So
There you
I'm not
go.
a prepper. I really like doing all that. So I'm
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
you're not wasting things when you can use byproducts of things that you already use, and that's a wonderful thing. That's something I feel like we should learn more about in high school, right? And we
Yes.
just don't. I'm gonna have to start adding that to my philosophy argument. Like, we need more philosophy and critical thinking in high school before you get a fucking high school diploma. You got to learn critical thinking, what logic is, and what logical fallacies are. At least the top fucking 10. Like, um, we're lacking so much in this country, and I mean, we there's just so many other conversations we could be having. Um, but we can't because this Project 2025 is just wrecking our society as we know it. Um, that said, do you have anything else to add in this section? I feel like we're going to get back into this a little bit when we get to the ice
Right.
portion.
No,
But
I agree with you. I think that the next generation, your kids' generation, my kids who are, 26 to 30, that generation, those generation, even the really, really young, the ones being born right now, like my grandson, would really benefit from having a garden in their backyard. I know I did. From just knowing basic things like if you had to, could you clean a rabbit? Do you know that you need to castrate the boys before you clean them or you poison your food? Like, these are things you need or you won't make it, just basic Boy Scout, Girl Scout stuff just to get by in case it happened. And if you have a garden in your yard or your family does do hunting for sustenance, not for sport, you do learn a lot from it. It is not, I'm not a hunter. I can go to the grocery store. I live in a first world country. However, I could if I had to. And don't get me wrong, if someone else does and they invite me to come have some venison or elk or buffalo, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there real fast. I might even cook it. I just don't want to gut it. I already did
yeah,
that. It's gross.
yeah, I'll help cook it. I don't want to cut it myself. I'm
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, moving on,
Right.
Natsu.
Moving on to the next. Let's
Ooh, okay. I'm not sure where we're at. I'm hoping it's the Bernie versus Bernie. Is that where we are?
see. I don't I
Yes.
don't see
Okay,
any.
great. Christy, did you hear this? Did you listen to this? Bernie on the
Mm,
Senate floor?
which time? He's been
Uh,
he's been going all week.
the time when he was talking about Gaza and Bernie Moreno. You did?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's good.
My blood was boiling by the time I was fucking done listening to that horse shit of a response. I was so mad.
Well,
So that became my topic for tonight. And I had the transcript here. I'm not going to read it because it will take me longer than it did Bernie Sanders. And that took him 22 minutes, or with Moreno's response. Okay. So Bernie Sanders went to the floor. Which day was this? U.S. Senate recordings, May 14th, updated 3 hours ago. I don't think that's right. Okay. Yeah, it was just a few days ago. Okay. He said today marks 68 days and counting since any humanitarian aid was allowed into the Gaza Strip. For more than 9 weeks, Israel has blocked all supplies, no food, no water, no medicine, no fuel. Hundreds, hundreds of truckloads of life-saving supplies are waiting to enter Gaza, sitting just across the border, but are denied entry by Israeli authorities. That is genocidal. on its face. Using starvation as a war tactic is a crime against humanity. It's a war crime. It is both. Um, I hate this. I'm skipping down a couple paragraphs. Bernie Sanders said, there are 2.2 million people who live in Gaza. Today, those people are trapped. The borders are sealed, and Israel has pushed the population into an ever smaller area, with Israel having cut off all aid. What we are seeing now is a slow, brutal process of mass starvation and death by the denial of basic necessities. This is why I hate this, is the third and fourth word there. I said 22 or 2.2 million people. Like, if you watch our show consistently enough, or you watch anyone on the left who's really pro-Palestine, you ought to know by now that the number that is verified is at least no. I can't even say like the mainstream number because I know it's so devastatingly wrong. I want to say it's at least, and I'm going to be much more conservative than I went to, 400,000.
Yeah, I heard that too recently.
We've been saying that for months. We have.
Well,
I mean,
I was
we
at
heard,
2.
you what now?
It was like 287 to 350 was the last time the Euromed and someone else their numbers combined to get a, not an exact but an estimate. But yeah, just recently, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I heard the over 400,000. I almost threw up.
I had so here. Doctors letter about Gaza, 118,000 dead. We'll see what that pops up. Anti-war, okay. I need that number. Open letter, Gaza, October 2nd. Letter to President Biden and Vice President Harris. Open letter from American medical professionals. I can't read. Who
like
served in Gaza. Professionals.
I like
Okay. Looking. Okay. This letter and the appendix show evidence that the human toll in Gaza since October is far higher than is understood in the United States. It is likely that the death toll from this conflict is greater than 118,908, an astonishing 5.4% of Gaza's population. Now, guys, this letter was months ago. Months ago. In the meantime, we reiterate what we wrote in our letter from July 25th, 2024. I'm looking for a date on this letter. That's my issue, guys, is that 99 doctors co-wrote this, signed on to it, and it was written October 2nd, 2024. That is over 6 months ago. And here's how I count the dead in Gaza not being there, right? I think in March of 20, 20 the first March after the conflict. I'm
20,
lost.
right?
That'd be 2024, March of 2024. I think that's around the time we had 35,000 dead. So if you take that and you multiply it, and you look at how many bombs they've used, and you look at this letter in October of 2024, so 1 year later, of 118,000 dead in Gaza. I love your mustache, Christy. Um, here's the thing: it's wrong, because we know every time that human right or the monitor, the UN, what's that called?
The
What monitor? The Euromed monitor.
Euromed.
They do go off of like the Gaza's like health ministry numbers, which Israel say is Hamas. But every time they check their numbers, like after the Great March of Return or something like that, they find that their numbers are pretty correct, except it's an undercount, right?
Right.
Because in war and conflict, it's always an undercount. So 6 months ago, these doctors saying that they think it's at least 118,000. What we should learn from history is that that's probably an undercount. And the starvation tactics have only gotten worse. The
Oh, the picture.
sheltering aspects have only gotten worse, and we just went through winter there. How do we think that it was not close to 200,000 then, and then we went through another starving winter that was worse than the last one, and it's less than 400,000? I don't understand it. Like, but by what means do we think less people died the second, like after the first whole year? Less are dying after that. That doesn't make any sense. There's less shelter, there's less food. And the people who are going with less shelter and less food are already going off of less shelter and less food. They're more exposed. They're less nourished. I want to say that the number is at least 500,000. So I'm sorry, I just took 10 minutes
Right. No, you're
on this
fine.
little sidetrack. But when I read, Mr. President, there are 2.2 million people who live in Gaza. I'm sorry, Bernie, you gotta fucking stop saying that. Even Donald Trump said that it was like 1.8 or something like that. He's probably closer. And that was back in, I don't fucking remember when, like near 6 months ago, 4 or 5.
Well, on that topic, yes, but he's hanging out with Qatar and Saudi, right? Saudi Arabia just announced that if they want a deal, they want the war to end in Gaza. And part of that deal needs to be Palestinian state, period. And there was a huge to do about it this week. Like that wasn't in your, no, they didn't tell the prince, that wasn't what you said before. They said, we didn't hear that in your last, whatever suggestion for your plea for a peace deal in your last deal. And is it because we just interpreted that it wasn't in there, or did you add it this time? Because they're freaking the fuck out, because if Trump is going to go with them because they're giving him all this money, Trump is hearing there's over 200,000, 400,000 dead. Trump is hearing how vicious this is. Now Trump is hearing the ear of the people who paid for his ear. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope there's some, like, I would hate to give Trump credit where credit's due, but if he earns it, he fucking earns it. I mean, let's be honest though. That said, if If Donald Trump solves this problem and gets a Palestinian state, great, right? Kudos to fucking him. I'm still mad at Bernie for taking a whole fucking year
Yeah.
to get on the goddamn train to moral correctnessville. That's unacceptable. I'm glad he's on it now. He's charging away. That's great, and I commend him for it. But he still
I
has to
feel you.
wear that badge of like, showed up late. He shouldn't have. He should have been one of the first ones fucking crying about it. And AOC. I know Talib was, and I know
Well, I think AOC, you remember, Mac, we covered it. AOC was being interviewed, and the interview was amazing until they asked her about Israel and Palestine. And she didn't have an answer because, yes, she was young. She was a bartender. That doesn't make her unqualified. She's a very smart person who cares about making it better for her constituents. That's all we need in our government. However, you need to be smart and able to learn. And she didn't know. And so she's done a lot of learning in the last couple years.
She did.
Yes. But Bernie, you're right, should have known. He's not bought, not paid for. He has no boss except for the people. And that's the thing. Look at his district who supports him. He has a lot of conservatives who donate. It doesn't mean that he listens to them and them only. It means he listens to everyone. And those are some of the voices that he was listening to. But you're right. He should have known better. He's a peacenik. He was being arrested in the civil rights. There is no reason, Bernie.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right. So that said, the only reason I'm attacking Bernie right now is because one, he deserves it. And two, if Trump fucking solves this, look at the fucking damage he did first. Yeah, we'll put him in the history books as like the man who finally solved the Israel-Palestine problem and then went straight to the fucking Hague because of all the shit he did before that. Like, I wouldn't care if like he solved it, stopped all the deaths from happening, and then they did whatever to him afterward. I don't give a fuck. Like him, Netanyahu, even Biden, all complicit in some of the worst fucking crimes.
Yes, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. Okay, Bernie here. The starvation hits children the hardest. At least 65,000 children now show symptoms of malnutrition, and dozens have already starved to death. Malnutrition rates increased 80% in March, the last month of which data is available for. Netanyahu began the siege, but the situation has severely deteriorated since then. Scooting down. Oh, not much at all. He says, Mr. President, this is going. I'm not going to do the whole Bernie thing right now. This is going on. Or what's going on? There's not some terrible earthquake. It's not a hurricane. It's not a storm. What is going on today is a man-made nightmare, and nothing, in my view, can justify this. What is happening in Gaza will be a permanent stain on the world's collective conscience. History will never forget that we allowed this to happen, and for us here in the US, that we, in fact, enabled this ongoing atrocity. That is very, very, very correct. There's no doubt that Hamas, a terrorist organization, began this terrible war with this barbaric October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel, which killed 1,200 innocent people and took 250 hostages. I'm sorry, I gotta disagree with most of that statement because it did not fucking start then. Look up the Great March of Return, and
I was mad too. Yeah, I was mad too, Mac. Yeah, I remember that part. I was mad about that too. Yeah, I remember being like, "You're not helping."
You are. I mean, he is helping. He's just giving too much, right? You want to sound reasonable to even the most extreme. That is so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
But you also can't give too much, right? Like saying the 1,200 innocent people. At least 800 of those 1,200 people were IDF soldiers.
Right.
They're actually combatants. They're not innocent people.
I
I'm
agree.
sorry. Like, we can't say that. Like, we wouldn't say that about any other conflict.
Right.
Um,
You're right.
that's insane.
Yeah, and
Um,
we know of the what's it called directive, Hannibal directive,
Hannibal.
that a majority of them were nuked that day by their own people. So yeah,
Yeah,
the
they
truth
set
just needs
fire to
to be,
fucking everything.
yes.
Is that what you're talking about? When they like just like
When yeah, you looked at houses burnt out, cars burnt out, and you're like, okay, Hamas doesn't have that type of firepower. They just don't.
that was fucking insane. Um,
Yeah.
okay. I don't want to go through the whole thing. Um, Israel has now killed up to 52,000 people and injured more than 118,000. Again, that's not even right all the way. All those should be a big at least. No electricity. Uh, okay. I'll read the last one or two sentences here, and then I'll get to Bernie Moreno's bullshit. I'll read the whole thing of that because it's kind of short. But what makes this strategy so much worse for us in America is that it is our government, the United States government, that is absolutely complicit in creating and sustaining this humanitarian disaster. So the issue is not who started the war. Everyone knows who started the war. The issue is whether you commit war atrocities. Excuse me. Criminal war acts by punishing an entire people for the acts of a terrorist organization. And there's a decent amount of that which I disagree with. I mean, they did kill innocent people. That does make them a terrorist organization. That's fine, right? But um, but here's the only thing. I can say Hamas is a terrorist organization. I will give you that. But if they are, you have to say that terrorist organization is small cookies compared to the IDF. That's a much bigger terrorist organization. Um, so there's that. And I'm cool with trying all of them who actually committed war crimes. 100%. Either side. Just realize the Israeli side is going to um, have a lot more people who need to answer for atrocities. And that's not deterrent when I say it. I'm not saying, well, just be ready to make trades. He's like, no, I'm 100% down. Like, either way, whether you want to or not, that fucking needs to be done. All right. Do you have anything to say before I start reading Bernie Moreno's bullshit? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about that one, for sure. And yes, I'm excited to check out Discord when we're done too. It's gonna be fun.
You're
Okay,
excited
so
to what now?
there's a poll in our chat, Mac. You need to
There's a
participate.
poll in our chat.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna participate. It's 100%.
Yes. Yes. The funnier the better.
All right, hold on now. Hold on. What's being said about me? I see what's going on. Look,
Let me get. They're
I'm a little
silly.
bit of an old look. My old man can use Facebook better than I do. I have a little bit I'm a little bit of an old man. I'm sorry. All right, moving on. Now, I want to have a fucking sit down, man to man talk with Bernie Moreno. That man needs sat down to fucking talk to slowly so he understands words. Because this fucking guy, I should talk to Hysteria and be like, hey, I got your next this fucking guy.
Oh, yeah,
Have they done Fetterman yet? Because they got to do Fetterman first. Okay. Bernie Moreno comes to the floor right after our boy, Bernie Sanders, our collective boy, Bernie Sanders, my Ohio Republican Senator, Bernie Moreno. Yeah, he's mine. I'm sorry. That's part of the reason why I'm so fucking mad. He doesn't deserve, Christy, he doesn't deserve his first fucking name. He just doesn't. Fuck him. And the horse he rode in on. Bernie Moreno says, I've been in the United States Senate now for a total of 125 days. Way to fucking go. I've seen some outrageous comments over the last 125 days. My colleague has been here, here exactly 1,200 days more than I have. Yeah, fucking learn a thing or two. And let me just set the record straight. He's gonna corkscrew the record and then bend it every fucking which way, so you know. On October 7th, 2023, families, mothers, fathers were sitting at home enjoying a peaceful existence in one of the most difficult places on earth to live. I'm already so fucking mad. Just painting the picture of us like, oh, one of these peaceful people are just sitting at home and playing checkers and playing jacks and just let's like. One, it was a concert where they attacked. Nope, not getting into it yet. I'm gonna move on. Okay. Most difficult places to live. Why is it the most difficult place to live? Maybe because you're colonizing an occupied space. Did you think of that? Like, did you think of it? Did you think of it? They had a day planned of joy at a festival. Okay. He's really bad at painting this picture. And what happened? People came over and savagely murdered children, raped women, took hundreds of hostages, killed more Jews than at any time since the Holocaust. There's so much wrong with that statement.
That's horrible. That statement right there.
Everything he said, almost everything he said, was wrong.
Was poo.
Were there zero signs, or was there zero evidence for women being raped? Was there exactly zero evidence for that?
Exactly zero.
Yeah. There may have been one baby murdered. As far as children go, I'm not sure.
No, there was.
One.
And it was the Jewish baby, and it was killed with Hamas bullet in crossfire. It wasn't. It could have actually not. At the time, nobody knew until then the autopsy, shows that. Yeah.
Sure, but you know what? Hamas fucking did that, and they need to fucking answer for it.
They also threw grenades, and Hamas also threw grenades into homes with people. Like, what?
That's
not military.
Up.
They did it to military too, but regular citizens.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
that's all
Violent.
atrocious. Was it
Yeah.
just civilians they were attacking, though? No. Um, so we got to be honest about it. Um, killed more Jews than any time since the Holocaust. That's just there's too many examples to go through there where there were more Jews killed, and most of the time it was when there was warring factions in Israel Palestine. Okay, what you just heard the last 15 minutes could be summarized as the absolute propaganda of Hamas. Because there's an absolute propaganda of Hamas. I'm sorry, I can't move on from this fucking sentence. What you just heard the last 15 minutes could be summarized as the absolute propaganda of Hamas. You know why that's so much bullshit, that one sentence? Because the American people don't get to hear from Hamas.
No, they do not.
You don't get to fucking say that when you never heard from Hamas.
Let me share this
You've
with you
never
guys.
sat down and listened to a single fucking thing from an Hamas official. Most people, I'm sorry, chat, you already know this. Just remind your friends and your neighbors that Hamas is a political party
Mhm.
and they run things. They help run hospitals. They have offices. They have a military group. They have they have more extreme members, and then they have, the members that just want to do the government work, the boring shit that keeps things running. It's not just a terrorist group. It's not just a militant group, and that's what the US media tries to sell you, that they're just a military group. But they're not just a military group.
A
And you never hear
militia, even
they're not even what?
they're not even a military. They say they're a militia.
Militia.
Like, yeah,
It's
like they're not even state sponsored. They're just, which would make anyone with the full spectrum of knowledge go, oh yeah, they're resisting. That's why they don't have state sponsor. That's why they're not a military.
not. I mean, but I mean, people don't really understand that much, and I have
It's not.
sympathy with people. It's not what?
It's not. It's not black and white. It's not as easy as they're just a resistance group. It's it's nuanced. We're humans. It's nasty, disgusting, abhorrent what's going on over there.
It
I
is.
don't condone anything that happened on October 6th, but we also know that this violation of a human people has been happening since the Nakba
Yeah.
and has whitewashed and educated out, like not taught other things. The whole birthright thing that Israel does, where American taxpayers, private donors, and the wealthy fund this birthright. It's billions of dollars to run this. And if I was Jewish and decided, I'm between whatever age it is, 17 and 25, whatever it is, and I call and set it up, hey, I want to do it's owed to me. I'm Jewish by birth. It's my birthright. And you go over there and they show you all the great stuff, which there is a lot of great stuff. That's nobody's taking that away. And they don't show you the other side of the apartheid wall. They don't show you any of those things. Why would they? And then you have this amazing bond with your homeland as a young Jewish person, and they're counting on this billions of dollars they funded to make sure that when the time comes that they will be appalled that anyone would say anything horrible about. And it has worked thus far, but it is falling apart.
Yeah. It is, and a lot of that is because of social media, like TikTok.
Mac, remember when you said you bet it was a settler that set that fire? Do you remember when you said, Mac, Do
Yeah.
you remember when on the live stream in front of people you said that? It's
Yeah.
I remember when I
It
watched
was
it, I was like,
Israeli
oh,
settlers. Now, 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 I had seen that on Twitter that there were reports of it.
right, but it hadn't been a thing yet. But there's
No,
always
it had,
reports of,
but I only
you
said it
know,
because it made sense. It did, yeah,
I I hadn't even thought of that. When you said it, I thought, well, duh. And then I heard reports and read people talking. But when it said, yeah, there were fires set by settlers over here, and I was like, he just knew. You just knew.
yeah.
You just knew. Are you part of Hamas?
I'm not. Okay, so where was I? That last 15 minutes, absolute propaganda of Hamas. Let me just be clear. This war started, or this war was started by Hamas. I'm sure there was supposed to be a wasn't there. It could end today by Hamas if they released every single hostage, including American citizens. That's bullshit. We all know it's bullshit. As soon as they give up all the hostages, they're just gonna, do what they've been doing since they had hostages at fucking anyways. We're sitting here in the US Senate, and and not even saying a word for the fact that there's a US citizen being held by a hostage terrorist group in the Middle East. That is outrageous. That should be the top agenda. No, it shouldn't, because there are over 50,000 children that are dying. I think that takes precedence over, I don't know, 100 US citizens being held. I'm sorry. Call me fucking crazy. Um, why have civilians been killed in Gaza? Because they hide weapons in hospitals, in schools, in homes. Even if that was true. Who's the dude? Who's the dude? The comedian with like he's mostly bald, but he has red hair.
Steve Hostetter,
No, not him.
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Bill Burr.
I like both of them.
Perfect bit where he said, like, if you want to go like punch your neighbor in the face and he's holding a baby, you gotta like have him put down the baby, or at least like punch him when he's in the grass so the baby bounces off the grass. You can't punch him through the baby.
Right.
Right? Like if they, if they have weapons in the hospital, you don't just bomb the hospital, right? That is exactly like seeing that there's a school shooting going on and be like, oh shit, there's a bunch of terrorists in there. Well, we can't let the terrorists get away, so we're gonna have to bomb the whole school.
Yeah, no. No.
That's the exact same thing. It's the same fucking thing, right? Because there's innocent people in there. You don't blow up a public building because you think there's dangerous people in there when there's also a bunch of innocent people in there.
Right.
You don't fucking do,
Nobody
because
would
if
do
you
that.
did, that would be absolutely insane. And the people who blew up that school, let's say it was like the police, right? Like, let's say the police just did that. The people who are standing by, waiting for their children to come out safely from the school, should murder all the people who made that call. Like, because that's insane. That's absolutely atrocious. I'm sorry, that's more insane than the two, we'll say, school shooters who went inside to kill children. When the force who's supposed to come and stop it kills all of them. It's yeah. Nacho says throwing the baby out with the bathwater. No, that's that's
Bombing the
that's
bathtub with the
yeah. It's pretty close. What I was gonna say is turning that bathtub into a boil with the baby still in it, and then overflowing it into a nursery, like,
and then bombing.
and then bombing it to make sure that you don't have to clean up the nursery. It's it's insane.
Yes, cooking your
And then
lobsters in
making
the
it.
baby.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. You
And
got
and then and then bombing it.
and then bombing it, just for good measure. Um,
Yeah, nobody
okay,
would do that.
I don't think I'm gonna read the rest. I'll just get some bits and pieces.
Link it. Put it
He says,
in the link.
sure, yeah. This is like I got the transcript.
I
It's
need to
disgusting.
know what you know.
Is that you good?
Yes.
He said he went there 2 weeks ago, to Israel. Um, he says there's almost no Israeli that hasn't seen a mom, a dad, a son, a grandson, a granddaughter that hasn't been injured or killed to protect their country. Bitch, if you are trying to make an argument to humanize someone,
Yeah.
it's fucking it has to be lost on him. It's either he's evil or fucking retarded. It's retarded. I'm
Yeah.
glad
No,
you say that word again. It's really
right.
funny.
For
Um,
our American government, we're allowed to say that word again.
yeah. And then he says, sorry, there is like a couple more
Yeah.
sentences. So this will be easy. The fact that we are disparaging our greatest ally at this level is completely outrageous. I had plans to go home, see my wife and kid. I'm glad you still fucking have those.
Right.
Genuinely. But I rose today because I could not stay silent after listening to that kind of nonsense spewed here in the United States Senate as he's spewing the most fucking nonsense. It's a disgrace, and we should never forget that Israel is fighting the war that we would otherwise fight. You know why we would fucking fight it? Because we want an outpost in the Middle East called Israel. You know, if we weren't spending $2 billion a year propping up Israel, we would need to make one. Who said that, Christy? You
Joe
remember?
Biden.
Joe
Mr. Joe
fucking Biden. Which is why
Joe
he
Biden.
needs locked up too, because it's colonization.
Mm.
They're settling the land. Do you know why they're settling the land? Because one is a desert and it's occupied by a bunch of fucking animals. They're primates. Most of us would call them humans. But some humans are superior to others. So the other ones are just fucking apes. So you
Yeah,
have to
that's
settle
exactly.
the land that the lower apes are living on.
Yeah,
It's
it's really
disgusting.
bad. It's really bad. It reminds me of how that documentary that we both watched, that she had the American accent, she moved to Israel. She said colonizing has got yeah, colonizing has got a bad name. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
She has like red hair, wearing the blue dress. It got a bad name because, like when the Americans showed up, they didn't know how to live, and we brought like a lot of, you know, technological advances and like also diseases, and 90% genocide to the population that was on the Americas before you got here. But that's in the past. Nobody should be mad about it now. We should learn from it now so that we don't do that again. Like I
Hold on.
don't think we
I
shouldn't
got
touch it because people feel bad. You should feel
I
bad
got
if you don't know.
yeah. No, hold on. I do have to disagree with that because the
Oh no.
people the people who had their land colonized and their families fucking destroyed, like the the indigenous peoples of our nation, right? The leftover people. Um, and I apologize. I'm being facetious on purpose. Um, they should be fucking mad still because they are the last remnants of their people here. Because we
They are.
fucking murdered the rest. They can still be mad. They ought to be mad. And you know who else ought to be mad in the next fucking 20 years? Like, it's the people who are trying to make peace with what is left of either their land or their family, wherever that is. And the ones who are in extremist groups trying to kill all the Jews now in 20 years because they murdered the like another 90% of the last of their population.
Right. I
And
mean,
they're
yeah,
thinking in eugenics, like we need to save the rest of our genes. And the only way to do that is to get the rest of their genes because their genes hate our genes. Like it's a vicious fucking cycle
yeah,
and it will not end well because we are giving them reason. We, as in the US, because we're propping up Israel, to fucking hate us and them. They should be mad. Someone kills your whole goddamn family in your neighborhood. It is unreasonable to not want to kill them back. We hope for better angels of our nature to prevail and us want to move forward peacefully. But that's not human nature. We have to fight against human nature. And thank goodness for those of us who can. But it's not normal. And that's not really how the world works most of the time. That's why we get these small extremist groups that live in tunnels and caves because they want revenge, because all they want is their family back or someone to fucking answer for it.
yeah, yeah. This past week, week and a half was the 80th anniversary of Vietnam. You saw that, right? 80th anniversary. CNN had soldiers who were fighting in it go down because they made friends while they were there. They fell in love while they were there, all kinds of stuff. They did a whole special on it. The absolute horrors were being celebrated that it's over and that they've learned so much while genocides are happening. The fuck we've learned. The people might have, and that's why they want to hold on to education, or they want to get a hold on the education. That's why the entire Department of Education is completely gone in our country. That's where we're at right now. It's insane. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. There's the hypocrisy is neon colors with sirens and blinking lights.
Yeah. It's sad. It's really sad. And I'm
Yeah.
always stuck. I'm always stuck just paying attention to Gaza and what ICE is doing right now. And I would love to get in to our next topic of ICE and ICE detentions, but we're not going to get to it tonight. We've already gone over time. We're going to try to keep
Yeah.
it between an hour and an hour and a half.
Guess what? We'll have even more ice. Let's do a joint venture on ice next time
That'd be great.
because
That'd
I
be
I also that it's just like here and there of ice that so yeah, we can collab on that.
yeah. It's
Ice maybe.
that'd be great. So, all
Yeah.
right. Well,
Oh,
sorry we ended on such a downer, like every other time.
I have a tidbit that will make you very excited. Okay. The January Sixers, not the as in the whole, but some January Sixers who were pardoned have committed murder, have killed people in car accidents, have done all kinds of crazy stuff. But this is a little cherry on top. They're being deputized into ICE. I have tidbits. So
Yeah, that's
brown
there's
shirts are coming. Brown shirts are coming. That's why I smoke weed.
it's fun. Yeah, we've got some shit to cover with you guys. Look, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We try to do the show every week, or at least every fortnight. Um, are we going to try to plan on next week? We'll see if Nacho responds down below. I think we're going to try. But yeah. Yep, it is. Yep, we should be here next week. We'll be covering ICE. We'll be covering probably the economy a little bit because it'll probably tank a little bit.
Together.
Yeah, we'll probably just like talk. We need to have a let's just shoot the shit for 10 minutes on what's been happening and then jump into the first topic. We'll do that. We will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We love you all and
stay humanist for God's
sake.